So for game two, the Suns are favored again. They're a whopping minus 225 on the money line. Kenny, is that higher than you would expect after game one? Or like Nick just said, do you think that you're going to see improvement actually on the Suns shooting and whatnot?
It's kind of lower than I expect, to be honest. I mean, I didn't expect to be able to back the Suns in game two at a reasonable price. And I think that's what we have here. I mean, I think that you could take the Suns on the money line here and really, it wouldn't break the bank too much. And I think that that's pretty surprising after the game that we saw in game one. And, again, we've touched on how well the Bucks played. But if you look at the second half of that game, and it felt like the Bucks played really well, right, in the second half. We talked about the adjustments from Mike Budenholzer, 50% from three. They got 17 points from Chris Middleton in that second half. But you look at the scoreline, and they were outscored by 5 points. I mean, the Bucks shot just about as well as you could have expected, 50% from the field in the second half. And it wasn't enough. Their offensive rating in this game was still 104. I mean, it's just atrocious. They defended well, but the Suns, as Julian mentioned, a lot of upward mobility here with Devin Booker just 1 of 8 from 3. You had Jay Crowder, nothing for 4. I mean, who knows if he'll ever hit a 3 again, right? We're going back to the LA series, but campaign as well. I mean, the walking, meme, the walking nail in the coffin that he is. I mean, he played really well as well. I just think that this team can get so much better, and they also seem to play a lot better with Dario Saric off the floor. I think a full game of no Saric maybe makes the Suns a little bit heavier of favorites. I'm really surprised at this line, and I'm definitely taking it.
All right. I mean, Nick, is minus 225 lower than you expected?
I think it's about right based on what we saw in game one. I thought maybe there'd be a little bit more generosity toward the Bucks looking toward game two. Maybe you assume Giannis is a little healthier. Obviously, you have more time with this line. You don't really have the questionable status, I guess, of Giannis coming into game two. But I think Phoenix has just proved in a lot of ways that they're the better team. I think it's very possible that Milwaukee made it to the finals because they ran into a very much banged up Nets team in round two. They ran into a Hawks team that was without Trae Young for a couple games in the next round and just really isn't all that good overall. And now they're finally running into a team that is complete, that has guys who are just almost impossible to defend one-on-one in Booker and Paul, and has a really nice young big man now in DeAndre Ayton, on top of having a really strong cast of role players. The McCall Bridges, the campaigns, Cam Johnson had a couple of threes in the first half of this game. Like, Phoenix just has so many guys who can impact the game. And it just felt like with Drew Holiday once again struggling and having another just horrific offensive game in these playoffs, the Bucks ran out of options really quick. And especially with Giannis resting for about 10 more minutes than he normally would in the playoffs in a game of this magnitude when healthy, it felt like it had to be Chris Middleton. And when he struggled a little bit down the stretch, he had I think when the Bucks cut it down to 7, Middleton immediately had a turnover and then lost Devin Booker, who hit a 3 on the other end, and then had another turnover in a 3-possession sequence. That basically sunk the Bucks. But at that time, Middleton was really their only source of offense. And on the other end, it just felt like it was coming so much easier for the Suns.
All right, Jules, what do you think? Minus 225 lower or higher than you expected?
Yeah, it feels right. I think the perception was maybe that this would be like 6.5, and to kind of move a little bit from where it was. But if you remember, I mean, this was around 5.5 the entire time that we were expecting Giannis to be doubtful and sit. And it dipped to 4.5 when Giannis was ruled in and be starting. So it kind of, in some ways, did move a point, even though we were looking at 5.5 leading all the way up. With the rosters as constructed, this was 4.5. So it did move a point, I guess, if you want to make that argument. And I think the 1 point move is justified. I think the Suns are in a great spot in game two to keep rolling. I think we all made the argument that the Suns can get better than the Bucks can get, at least in game two of this series. So yeah, I think that it's priced appropriately. If there's value anywhere, it's the Suns. I won't be playing it on the money line. I'll lay the 5.5. Or if you want to, get a little more creative, you can do like a double result. Suns win game two and win the series, minus 140. That's not bad. If they're minus 3 whatever in the series and they're going to win game two to go up 2-0, they're probably going to finish it off. So you can find some different ways to get value. Of course, you got to wait for your payout for the series to be over. But yeah.